Hi guys, if you are somebody who struggles to lose weight, you've been eating healthy, you've been exercising, and you're not seeing a scale move, you're not seeing too much progress, then maybe you have insulin resistance. Coming from a competitor background, I competed for about 3 years straight. I remained a certain level of body fat for that amount of time, and in that time period, after I was done competing, I did develop insulin resistance, and I had to take the necessary steps a couple years later to repair my body, repair my metabolism, and start losing weight again. So what is insulin resistance? Insulin gets released when you eat a meal to help lower your blood sugar levels back down, because when you eat something, your blood sugar levels raise, insulin is released, and part of what you eat gets stored as glycogen, and then whatever is left gets stored as fat. So if you're eating and your blood sugar is remaining high, and everything you eat is basically getting stored as fat and not too much as glycogen, then you're showing to have insulin resistance. So you're not really losing any weight. Your body is constantly in a fat storing mode, and that's just a issue with the insulin. So I wrote down a few symptoms of insulin resistance, and if you struggle with bloating, you struggle with being hungry in between meals, or after you eat a meal you feel really tired and need to take a nap, it's a sure sign of insulin resistance. If you have lots of belly fat equals a fatty liver, slower metabolism, stuff like that, that's a sure sign of insulin resistance. So you can correct insulin resistance. This is not something that you can be diagnosed with and then deal with the rest of your life. You can take the necessary steps to correct it. And I think a lot of people, they go into start eating healthy and they're very scattered with what they're eating, or they've been in a diet for so long and they're constantly eating throughout the day, and your body is sort of changing to become insulin resistant throughout a period of time. So when I first got into competing, I was eating about 6 meals a day, and I stuck with 6 meals a day for about 2, almost 3 years. My third year I knocked it down to 4, but I was still eating a lot of carbohydrates. And constantly eating, constantly raising my blood sugar was causing my body to be insulin resistant. So constantly fueling my body with the sugar, which is the carbohydrates, constantly all the time, and it was preventing my body from losing fat. So when I first got into competing, I got really lean really fast, and I didn't notice any changes in my body. This was over a period of time. So as I continued to diet this way, as I continued to eat 6 meals a day, I developed insulin resistance over time. Realize this does not happen overnight. If you're somebody just getting started into fitness, you're not gonna really see this. You're gonna see this over a grace period of continuing to eat, continuously eating. So even if you're snacking in between meals, let's say you're eating an apple and peanut butter, that's still raising your insulin. It's not allowing it to come back down, and you're gonna start storing fat over a long period of time. So there are certain things that you could be eating that maybe you're not, that could help with your insulin resistance. So realize fat is a buffer for insulin. So if you're eating let's say low-fat yogurt, that is going to raise your insulin a lot. You want that fat. That fat is a buffer. So that fat is going to prevent your blood sugar from rising a lot. So let's say if you're eating egg whites is about 55% insulin raising, if that's the term for it, but it raises your insulin by 55%, as opposed to a whole egg raises it 15%. So that fat from the egg yolk mixed with the egg white is that buffer and not allowing that blood sugar to rise. So keep in mind that fats are good, fats are buffers, and you don't want to be eating these diet foods, these processed foods. It's only creating a disaster for your body, and it's going to prevent you from losing weight. Do not be fearful of fat. So fat is really going to help with insulin resistance, and I would say have a meal more composed of fats than carbs. If you're somebody who suffers from these types of things and has issues with their metabolism, this is like the first step, really focusing on more fats as opposed to more carbohydrates. So another thing that can help with your insulin resistance is having apple cider vinegar. It like helps with the acidity in your body, get your body ready to start eating. It's preparing your body for a meal. So apple cider vinegar, like a teaspoon of it before you eat, mixed with some water, is really good. Having those fermented foods, and then large amounts of greens. It's really important that when you're trying to rebuild your metabolism, when you're trying to decrease insulin resistance, to really eat lots of green vegetables and lots of fiber. If you are like eating really high fat foods and switching your diet up a little bit more, your liver can become really fatty. But if it has that fiber, if it has those green vegetables, your liver will become less fatty. So it really needs it. Really make sure that you're eating a substantial amount of vegetables. I don't know if you guys watch my videos, but if you do, you see that I have a big plate of vegetables in almost every single one of my meals. And before I was eating like really small amounts of it, and then I was eating like broccoli, like just all broccoli, and now I've like switched more to like spinach and asparagus and kale and lots more green vegetables, and eating like really big portions of them. Another thing I want to mention is cortisol. So it's really important that you get enough sleep. Sleep is so huge. I'm sure you hear this on tons of fitness videos or whatever type of videos to help you like lose weight. Sleep is so important, and then lowering your stress is so important. So when you're stressed or when you're not getting enough sleep, your cortisol rises. Cortisol triggers glucose, which triggers your blood sugar to rise, which can create more insulin resistance. So if you're somebody who just eats really healthy, who goes to the gym but is super stressed, that is one of the main reasons why you're not able to lose weight. What I would recommend is maybe try a yoga class, maybe try just like some in-home yoga, like you can like play it on YouTube and do it in your home. Try a little bit of meditation, try to like read books or listen to audios on mental health, and just find different ways for you to relax. Or maybe it's going to do an activity completely separate from the gym, but something that's really fun, get you going and distracts you from, well, not distracts you, but like makes you feel better from whatever you're going through, something that lifts you up. So find ways, instead of like staying upset or staying stressed or staying worried, go find things that make you excited and go have fun with that. So that's really it helps me like for my mental health. Like when I feel like I'm really stressed, like a nice walk is really good for me, or I'll put something on, or I'll do some yoga. Like that just really helps me, and that's just some tips for you. The mistakes I made when I competed, like I said, I was eating 6 meals a day. I was over exercising, I was exercising 3 hours a day, eating like a very high carbohydrate diet, and in the end, my body completely rebounded from everything that I did for 3 years. Yes, I aesthetically looked good, but it was not maintainable, and I put on body fat very quickly. I was very tired and lack of energy, and I wasn't training as much, so my body got really conditioned to training 3 hours a day. And when I stopped training 3 hours a day, the body fat just started piling on. I would go eat a meal and I would gain weight instantly. So I noticed a lot of changes in my body after competing, and I made a lot of mistakes, but I've learned from them, and I'm creating a healthier body for myself in the long term. So I would say my diet was very low in fats, it was very high in carbohydrates. I was eating cereal almost every single day, lots of refined carbs, and very low fat. So I created an insulin resistant body over that time period, and I didn't gradually lower my training. I just went from overtraining to then I wanted a break because I was so exhausted from training for 3 years, staying at that body fat, and I wanted just a little bit of a break. And I went into a break, and my body just fought me. I had cysts on my ovaries, I was holding lots of water, I just wasn't myself, and it literally took me over a year to get to where I am today. I'm finally starting to see progress in my body. I'm making healthier decisions as far as just including more whole foods. Like, I don't eat that many carbohydrates. If I do, it's here and there, but I don't eat like an excess amount of carbohydrates, and I've definitely seen a positive change in my body. I have lots of energy. I feel much better. I have much better skin health. So I'm just sharing the mistakes that I made and some of the things that were able to help me. So if you're somebody who can relate to like just not seeing progress in the scale and not really understanding why you're not like progressing when you're doing all this work, then maybe this could be the reason why. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and as always, I will definitely see you in the next video. Bye!